Hello, I'm Alex Mansfield, the host of Manny Talks Shooting, and welcome to another episode. This is the shooting podcast where I talk to individuals all across the shooting industry. We'll talk competition, self-defense, concealed carry. If you like this content, check out our YouTube channel, Manny Talks Shooting. And without further ado, let's get to this episode. Manny Talks Shooting is proudly presented to you by D2 Custom Guns. Did you know that Phil the Groundhog isn't the only thing Puxatawny, Pennsylvania is famous for? That's right, D2 Custom Guns, the home of Dan Heizenreiter and one of the best, fabulous 2011 builders in the country. So make sure you guys go check him out, D2 Custom, anywhere you can see him on the social media, Facebook, Instagram, go check him out. If you see myself, Patches Reader, anyone with the D2 Custom Guns, make sure you go check him out, and you will thank me later. Now, let's get on to the show. Welcome, everybody. Welcome back to another installment of Manny Talks Shooting, the shooting podcast on the internet because you are addicted to the internet and you quite enjoy it.
The show is proudly
presented by D2 Custom Guns. It doesn't work. The weird disguised voice just doesn't work on my voice. But anyway, the show is brought to you by D2 Custom Guns. Make sure you go to d2customguns.com, get a hold of Dan, order a gun. The off season is almost over, so you better hurry. But without further ado, I just steal guests from other podcasts. This guy was just on Not Another Shooting Show, which you should go listen to because Andy and Jeff are hilarious. But we're sitting back down with my buddy Tanfo Timmy. What's up, Tim?
How's it going?
It's going pretty good. It's a Tuesday night. We're not being bothered by people, and we're recording a podcast, so it's going to be good.
Absolutely.
But it's going to be a good time. So hopefully all of you people enjoy it, and if you don't enjoy it, tough shits, because you're going to enjoy it anyway. But Tim, it's been a minute since we've chit-chatted on the podcast. We talk every once in a while, but it's been a minute. I've got to look it up. Now I'm kind of curious. When was Tanfo Timmy on the podcast last?
Right.
I think we were going to try to do with you and Ben on one episode, and then I just don't. We finally got Ben Eggleston on, but we didn't get. It wasn't a three-way. Now I'm curious.
I know it was pretty early on, I think, for you, right? You were.
Yeah, probably. Come on. The problem is this guy, Tanfo Timmy, keeps posting match videos. So I gotta dig through. It's not like the first link. Like every time I search someone's name, it's usually the top of the list. But no. Tanfo Tim guy is actually posting matches on YouTube.
Right.
Yeah. It's okay. It's how you grow. That's how you grow the gram. You gotta be on YouTube. I don't know. Do you think YouTube's worth it at this point?
What about YouTube? Is it?
Do you think it's worth it?
Not really. I don't know. They're never gonna really monetize gun content, so it's like, no worry there. And it's interesting. I do like to see like full matches on there, especially if you're researching like a match you're gonna go to. You can kind of look at a previous year's match or something like that, but
yeah, and that gives the best picture, I think, too, to be able to see like if you're wanting to go to Iowa or what was old Iowa like, because Iowa's now a new match director for Iowa, or the Great Plains section, or I don't know. You're supposed to go to some place in St. Louis here soon.
That match actually got canceled. We're pretty sad about that. Me and a bunch of Minnesota boys were really excited.
What? Why'd they cancel the match?
I'm not exactly sure. It sounds like a lady was running it, and she worked at the range and got fired from the range. That's what the rumor is, and we all got refunds and didn't hear much more about it. So that's we were definitely bummed.
Yeah, that is a bummer. But it'll be okay. We'll find another match. Or is it you guys have been shooting a little bit outside already, haven't you?
Yeah, we ran one a couple weeks ago. It was really cold, but it was supposed to be warmer. We've got our first regularly scheduled club match in like 3 weeks. It's on March 8th. So it's usually a pretty gutsy move, but we got some diehards up here that are raring to shoot by that time of year.
Yeah, I think our first, let's see, let me open my phone. I think my first match of the season, is March 2nd. If the match happens, if the weather is decent enough, March 2nd will be our first outside match. As you know, in Minnesota.
Canceling. Oh, what's that?
As you know, in Minnesota, it's just as iffy as it is here.
I agree, but basically, unless it's like threatening life or limb, the matches are happening. Every match I canceled on account of weather last year, the weather never even came.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, that's
I'm
the
done.
worst.
I'm not canceling matches for weather anymore unless it's like a tornado warning or if it's very obviously flooding.
Yeah, it's flooding and you can't get back to the range safely. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, that's no bueno. But so God, it's been a minute. Like I said, it's been a minute since you've been on, so I got to kind of try to remember what's going on. But most recently, if anyone's actually paid any attention to Tanfo Timmy's Instagram, is he finally got picked up by Vortex Optics. Woohoo!
Finally.
Finally, hey, you've already had their dots for like 2 years now.
Something like that. Yeah,
Well, that's kind of
really,
cool.
really cool guys there, and a really awesome company. I was out there for one of the indoor matches they host because they have the world's most amazing indoor range, which
Mm-hmm.
I had no clue existed, and it's really awesome. But I got to take a tour of the place, and it's just amazing what's going on there. Really cool to see that level of manufacturing happening in America. So
Right in Barnville, Wisconsin.
yeah, middle of nowhere.
Yeah. How far is Barnville from where you live?
It was 4.5 hours.
Oh, that's not terrible. But you went there for that indoor match. Was that the low cap indoor match?
Yeah, he did like a special low cap match of L10 and all that, and it was pretty fun. They ran a deal where you can help set up on Friday night and shoot the match, and then I shot it again on Saturday as part of like the regular also match. So
Mm. So would you shoot? When you so for that match you shot L10 and then what else?
then open.
Yeah, kind of a bummer though. You gotta like wait. We'll talk about a little bit more about this later too. But you gotta build more L10 scores so you can actually get classified in L10.
I was pretty disappointed that's the direction that went.
You know, we can only blame yourself because you're on the committee.
I mean, I heavily disagreed with the current direction it went. I was talking to area directors and like, come on, let's just reach into the old bag of Jake math and make the hit factors really high, and at least we can get classified, even if it's artificially too hard.
Yeah.
But nobody was down with that. I said, well, that's lame. I'm going to be done shooting L10 before the classifiers even matter because it's like a winter off season mess around operation.
Right. Yeah. I've had a couple people down in the Chicago area, and they're going to shoot L10 just for the shits and giggles, just to help build data. So it's kind of like, okay, but it's like
It's
the locals.
fun.
Yeah. Major power factor with a slide ride dot. Why not? Right.
Yeah, I mean, you can go frame mount if you have the setup ready, and I mean, yeah, it's a blast. Like
Yeah.
it makes 9mm shooting so easy after you shoot 40 for a while too. So
Mm-hmm.
good
Yeah.
training.
It's all good. You know, your Tanfos, they hold up to it. So that's a good thing.
Definitely.
Yeah. I'm glad, I don't know. I'm kind of glad they didn't add optics to revolver, but the nice thing is you can play an L10 with an optic with a revolver. So like L10's this cool little testy ground for everything.
Yeah, it kind of worked as a catch-all, and I think it's fun. It's like everybody's like, why do that? I'm like, well, you could have just killed the division. Everybody wanted to kill it, so now they at least made it more interesting.
Yeah, they found it for and I'm tempted. I might if I want to shoot a local from concealment. That's what I would do it. I would just do L10.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
mean, it's like why not have a good time in carry optics or limited optics, and when you could just shoot your carry gun in L10 and not really care
Yep.
and still make GM. No, just kidding.
The high hit factors were pretty low on some of those classifiers.
Yeah, it's okay. So you got what 200? Did you do the math and see what they were?
A lot. Some of them were like 2 full hit factor under CO GM numbers,
Yeah,
and I'm like, whoa, major and a dot, and then only slight round count capacity. It would have been pretty easy.
yeah,
So it's good that they didn't let that happen, but they could have just like took and bumped them up by 3 hit factor each to at least let us get classified.
yeah. Hey, you never know. Hopefully you get some data or
Yeah, that's what you get. The math nerds only know math nerd stuff, so I don't blame them. They want to work on it with actual data, not spitballing things. So
Well, but here's the data. You and Billy, the diversity squad, go out and just set up the classifiers and just shoot them and be like, "There's your data."
I mean, if the ground wasn't too frozen to pound nails into, I definitely would.
Speaking of that, you were screwing things into the ground now?
Oh, dude, yeah. I thought the ground might be slightly unfrozen because we had a really warm streak, and I tried pounding some nails. They went in like 2 inches, and it was not looking great. So I went and bought a bunch of like 5/16 lag bolts, and he just drive them into the ground, and they held like they were in concrete.
Hey, there you go. Now you can have your winter matches and not worry about it.
Right.
But do you guys not have power hammers up there in Minnesota?
Oh, we do. They wouldn't go in with anything.
Oh, okay. Well, at least the
frozen dirt up here is like concrete already. Like I broke the nail in half when I tried hitting it with the sledgehammer too. Like,
oh yeah, no, that's not good.
Yeah, bad news.
Bad news bears. But yeah, so I guess one good thing we can really talk about before, because the problem is if I talk about this at the end, I'll forget, and then people won't listen to it. But most people listen to the beginning. So this is your third year of doing the Northwood Showdown, and it's pretty cool. It's I would come shoot it, except it's conflicting weekends with a major match. I'm already signed up to work, so you got to pick a better weekend than May. But no,
it's literally the only weekend we have. It's terrible, man.
Yeah, because you get too close to everything else, don't you? If it gets any later.
Yeah. A lot of the other clubs have traditional weekends they've run stuff, so we try to be accommodating, and yeah, you get 2 weekends later. Even 1 week, I think, is Great Plains, and you go too early in the year and it's freezing and snowing still here, and it's a tough setup. So you got to do what we can.
Yeah, and hopefully May's not. Is it traditionally is May that not like a rainy portion of the season up there?
It's 50-50, and on both days even. Last year on Saturday, it was like 50 degrees and rainy for part of the day, and then Sunday shooting squads it was 74 and sunny.
Yeah, that's the dumb thing about that. I remember in 2023 when I ran my major match, I had to do it in April, which is unheard of, right? It was exactly one day perfectly sunny and bright, like 70 degrees. The next day, 30 and rainy. It was like horrible. Luckily, it was cool enough. I got to meet Scott Arnberg at that because he and I squatted together.
Nice.
And we shot in nice weather. And then the next day, everyone got rained on. And it was like, it sucks to be you guys. Yeah. Early season weather is very inconsistent.
Yeah, that's it. You're right. Such at the mercy of the weather as a match director. And like I was saying, that's my my stance now is I'm not canceling matches for weather unless it's like grave.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't blame you there. So you're in your third year of the Northwoods Showdown. What should people expect different in this match than in the years past?
Everything that just worked that much better. Big thing we learned last year, we didn't get a ton of staff because I mean, the thing I've learned about staff is it works much better if you just reach out directly and ask people you know are capable of it, rather than like posting once in a while like, oh, we could use some staff help. You don't get hardly any signups that way. Like we had like bare minimum staff last year, so we had to keep the squads bigger to keep the staff where they needed to be and stuff. So that slowed everything down a bit. But this year, with our coordinated effort of asking people, we've got 50 staff. Like, it was not a problem. It's really awesome. Got a lot of newer people turning out that are helping out, that have kind of come up, started shooting at the club, and are helping out now. And it's really exciting. That's a big one. And then, I don't know, just the ever-growing progression of better stages and better setup and better props and everything.
All right. So you do something that's a little interesting. You have where people can staff the match, but then shoot it as a competitor the next day.
Yeah, that was a big one. I've shot a lot of matches as staff and pre-match. It sucks. It's not great. It's like you're working and shooting at the same time. It's pretty tough. So a thing I wanted to try with some staff, Since we have the 2-day schedule where you shoot, it's all the match in one day and it's either day. So select number of staff will work their stage one day, and then they get to squad with the regular squad the next day and shoot it as nothing but a regular competitor, which is a really cool idea. I've had a guy did it last year, and he was able to squad with his buddies. They're like, they don't know the last time they shot a match with him because he's usually always staff.
Mm-hmm.
So they were really excited about that. So that's a good deal. I do have, I think the great majority of my staff this year is shooting on staff day and working both days just because that's what they were willing to do. So that's still very helpful.
Yeah, that is helpful where you don't have to worry about, you can just have people on the bays both days. It feels more like a traditional major.
Yep.
And I see that you got the makeawish.com Tanfo Timmy coming out. Is that what, do I read that right?
What's that?
Isn't your buddy David the guy who also shoots Tanfo who kind of looks like you?
Oh yeah, the great value Tanfo Timmy.
Great value. That's what it is. My Insta360 Go 2 case is over there, and it's got your guys' sticker on it. I'm like, damn it, it's over there. I made sure not to cover up the Luigi because the Luigi is the best part because he's green.
Yeah, that's so funny. Guy looks like a carbon copy of me, and we work at the same place, and people confuse us all the time. And
oh, really? You guys work at the same place? What?
Yeah, I met him just starting when I started working. He's actually the one that got me into reloading and shot a bunch of matches together. He's a good buddy.
That's just too weird. It's like, are you guys? Did you guys check your DNA? Are you guys like fraternal twins or something?
I've asked my parents; they say no. So
now, is he the same age, or is he older or younger than you?
I think he's 1 year younger.
Oh, okay. That's how they lied to you then.
Right.
Oh, that's too funny. Yeah, no, it's good. I see. Yeah, Adam Maxwell out there. He's gonna shoot. What is he shooting? Is he shooting like a revolver or something?
I think he was gonna do L10.
Oh, there you go. He signed up as limited optics right now, but we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, he was gonna shoot limited because he won the limited purse last year, and he wanted to defend it. But there's like 4 people shooting limited right now, so there's like hardly any money in it because it's based on paid competitors. Is how we figure the purse. But
yeah, you got Tanfo. Luckily enough,
I'd say that's a big thing about the match that makes it special is it's big time cash giveaway, like way more so than any other match we've ever seen.
Yeah, well, that and what Dragon's Cup I think is the only other match that's like dumped more money into the shooters. God,
yep.
Where is it? I know somebody tagged me in something the other day with the updated payouts. Who was it? It wasn't you. That's what I know for sure.
I think it was. I don't remember. We got you added because you came on as a sponsor.
Oh yeah,
we discussed it, and we're going to keep your sponsorship specific thing secret because we don't want it to sway the results of what it is. But yeah, you're Manny sponsoring a special prize for a special. Somebody at the match will announce at the conclusion of the match.
Oh, you have to. Yeah, you got to do it that way. I'm working on getting patches, so hopefully I get my patches in time. I can ship you some patches for that too. So
awesome.
God, patches are a pain in the butt. By the way, like stickers are bad enough, but patches, like, got to deal with. Oh, we got to set it up. So there's a setup fee plus how many you want, and it's like, what's my decent price break even point?
Yeah, we looked into some for our club, and once I saw numbers, I'm like, well, that's not feasible for a while. But yeah, we did some really nice Richardson snapback hats, their club logo, and we just sold them for exactly what we paid for them. We say, hey, we're not trying to make money on these. We just want to get this out because we think they're cool. So those sold pretty well. We're going to do another batch with the nice Tanfo Timmy green, as my son calls it.
No. It's Manny green. Well, I don't know. I'm a neon green. You seem to like tend towards that yellowy green kind of stuff.
It's there's like 1,000 different variations of the green. I mean, I even got like tools here that are.
Yeah, I got a cup. What else is green?
I bought the mag loader because I thought it was green, but it was yellow. So that was a sad day.
Oh, like you thought it was green online?
Yeah, we've been 3D printing reloading accessories and little fun trinkets out of green filament lately. And
yeah, have you been 3D printing? Have you learned to 3D print now too?
No, I don't do that. I'm not that much of a glutton for punishment. My body double Dave got a bunch of 3D printers and he's diving in. So
There you
when
go.
I told him I'd load his ammo for him if he'd 3D print me stuff because I got the auto drive and all that stuff. So works out nice. I send him Thingiverse files like, ooh, make me this, and he makes it. It's awesome.
Yeah, I'm still jealous of you having that auto drive. I don't have one of
It's
those.
awesome. Like it's got its own problems because it's just a machine and like little trinkets and constantly keeping it adjusted right. But it sure beats the hell out of pulling the handle.
Yeah. Yeah, that's my thing. Is like I don't want to have to pull the handle, but you got it.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah, I see you guys got a lot of good sponsors for the match. You know, obviously you said Vortex is the title sponsor. Then you got JP. AT3 is that a local Minnesota company?
Yeah. Yep. It's a local Minnesota company. They've got a pretty big online like store. They do a lot of AR-15 parts and accessories. They actually have their own line of optics coming out now too that are pretty solid. Nothing against them. Um, and it's just it's cool. One of their guys that works there shoots with us all the time, so it's really cool to be able to also support Minnesota companies.
Yeah, that is cool. I didn't know I didn't know they were an actual manufacturer, so that's kind of cool.
Yeah, they kind of came up in the last year or two that we became aware, and they're growing and they're being really supportive of local matches. It's really cool. I think they just jumped on their like title sponsor. We have a carbine match, carbine only, and near the end of March, and they jumped on as big sponsor for that. So we got all sorts of cool stuff to give away to people for that. So that's a lot of fun. And then they sponsored pretty much every big match we put on. Great people there. We're very happy to have them part of our scene here.
So at your carbine match, do you get to make fun of people who shoot PCC?
I didn't even make a division for it.
What is it like? 5.56 and then like 308?
So it's the Cold War carbine match. Last year I did PCC and heavy as options, and like 5 people combined shot those 2 divisions. So I'm just like, we have AR irons and optics, AK irons and optics, and then clone correct. So you've got to use something that would have been fielded during the Cold War. Doesn't have to be original, anything like that, but you get the idea. So somebody comes out and shoots their M16A1, they can register in that division, and I'll have a special little trophy for that division too.
There you go. It's okay, Dave. You just got to print some wieners.
Right. I'm actually gonna have FGS laser some stuff for it. So
there you go. I like Jeff's a good dude. Jeff's a really good dude.
He's always got cool stuff cooking.
Yeah, he still hasn't sent me my green walls and my logo wall yet for my 3D stage kit. Jeff, if you're listening to this, I'm still angry about that because you got green walls.
Green walls are nice.
And he's like, "Oh, I'll send you some." Well, first you got green walls, and I'm like, "I need more walls. Send me more walls," because it always seems like you need more walls. And then it's like, "Oh, I'm jealous. You have green walls. I want green walls. No green walls yet."
I just had to order a handful more targets of all sorts of varieties because I'm building multi-gun national stages with it, and you have more than 16 targets in a stage sometimes.
Yeah, and that's something too, because I mostly use the kit for when I do my indoor stuff. If I do outdoor stuff, I use SketchUp, just because I can tweak it a little bit more. And I'm not cool. I don't have a diorama sitting in my house.
It's not hard. It's pretty easy, but I actually just dove into Practice Sim, mostly just because that's how we'd have to submit our what's the word I'm looking for? New ideas for classifiers for our classifier committee.
Oh, yeah.
So you can make some really beautiful stuff in there, but I don't feel as creative. So I'm glad I've still got the really nice 3D stage builder because that's where I'll come up with my designs, and then I'll rebuild it in Practice Sim. Seems to be the way I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, and that's what I was doing too. Like if I got an idea, I'd pull out the kit and be like, "Oh, I really like this idea." But then sometimes it's just as easy to hop on the computer and do it in SketchUp. But the nice thing, I guess, with using Practice Sim is that you can share easily enough your file with the group. So it's not like you're like building. It's not like you're sending V1, V2, V3. It's like almost like a live edit. You can just be like, here's a new link.
Yep, totally. Like I said, I've only been messing with Practice Sim for like a couple days now, and the learning curve is steep.
Yeah.
Especially me, who doesn't really do computer stuff.
Yeah, I can imagine that.
I've got it working. I figured out how to change the walls so they look like mine, and found all the multi-gun props and all that stuff. Because I'm gotta assemble all the multi-gun stages in that for when we turn them in for that. But
yeah, that's I like the kits. I like the 3D like the computer options. But Lord, when I jumped on to Practice Sim for the first time, and I'm like, I can't leave this tab. I can't leave this. I can't leave the game. How do I do? Because I have two monitors here. I'm like, I want to go and piddle part with what's on this other screen, and I couldn't do it.
Yeah, I was having trouble like converting some stages. I was like, oh geez, I'll just print out the picture I have of the physical stage design so I can hold it up and redo it on Practice Sim, because you can't like bounce back and forth.
Yeah, and then I figured out they were like, oh, hit this button. Yay!
Right? I'm like, I need a dedicated tech support.
Yeah. Yeah, and just figuring it out, like, do I want it to look like grass? Do I not want it to look like grass? I was like,
I know. That was my first 2 hours of the thing, was trying to come up with a bay design that looked like what I had and approximate size and all that.
Yeah, that's always the challenge, I guess, and getting set up, I guess, right? The first time you do it, you got to get all set up and going.
I've got a pretty solid handle. I figured out how to make my own inventory now, so I could get the colors I like for everything and custom that, save it all to my custom inventory, and we're chugging along.
There you go. That's always a good thing.
I've got so many stages to design for so much stuff right now. So we got multi-gun stages, we've got Northwood stages, we've got carbine match stages, we've got shotgun world shoot qualifier stages. Like, whew, busy.
Yep. Don't forget Area 3 stages. Got to do that too.
That too. I got to send some of those over.
Yeah. But yeah, and you got speaking of Area 3, you got Not Another Shooting Show. They're sponsoring the match.
That's yep, they cool. Jumped on. That was pretty cool.
So. Yeah. Got Gun Slaps. I don't know. Is Gun Slaps, is that a brand or is that like a company?
He has like some stickers, like a little brand / company. Does a lot of memes. Pretty hilarious pointed memes. But yeah, one of my other guys was the one dealing with that, so I'm not too familiar on the specifics yet. But
gotcha.
Pretty exciting just to have a wide variety of sponsors that want to be a part of it.
Yeah, we got is it Boaz?
Boaz is what I called it. Nobody's corrected me. I'm pretty excited. They're a smaller reloading shop out of Tennessee. They use almost exclusively Brass Monkey bullets, so I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, they were the stage sponsor for last year at Bluegrass. That was my stage I worked, and I asked. I don't know. I asked like every squad. Anyone know how this goes? Because I don't know. Like Boaz. Like I'm like. I think then Leif ended up it's like Bose. I'm like, okay, whatever. I'm just gonna keep going whatever with I had. So
I'll shoot him a message and get it for sure. So
that would be good, like an FAQ. FAQ would be nice on their website. How do you pronounce this company's name?
Right, we're doing kind of a fun thing with Bose Ammo and Brass Monkey. Like Bose is going to be the official ammo of the Northwood, so we're going to try to get a lot of little trial packs of ammo, so we can get more of the ammo into the hands of more people, so they can give it a try and be like, here's a decent priced ammo if you don't reload your own. And then Brass Monkey's the official bullet of the Northwood, so we're going to get a little bit of every type we can, sample packs, and then obviously always sends out a bunch of certs and awesome stuff like that too. So
yeah, that is cool. That will be awesome. People will enjoy that. Then we see MAPSA, your actual USPSA or Practical Shooting Pistol Club, I guess.
Shooting in general, right? Because we're not pistol exclusive anymore. We're wild children now.
Yeah, and then you got the Chicago Gunslingers.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome, man. You probably see some of those guys at your matches too once in a while.
Yeah, I got one of those jerseys too. I'm like the Michigan chapter of the Chicago Gunslinger.
Nice, okay.
It's more funny because I'm like, oh, look at our Chicago team did good tonight. They're like, well, we don't care about Chicago sports. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, This is the only professional team I actually give a shit about. You guys have no care for it. But it's weird. I like hockey. I don't know. It's the weirdness in me. I would totally sell my one open gun though for a hockey
the
gear.
Chicago Gunslingers, basically, they donated cash, and we're gonna put that towards making lunch just phenomenal and excellent for everybody. So that was really cool that they were able to support us that way.
Yeah, it helps when you got a big enough group. You're just like, yeah, lunch money. Yeah.
Yeah, everybody really liked lunch last year. I had my dad out working the grill, some really like high end cheeseburgers and just snacks, and then we buy general snacks. And I was driving around both days, plenty of snacks and stuff for people if they're hungry.
Yeah, and your big old mule.
I try to do things I would like to see as a shooter. You know, I've been to a lot of majors, so that's where I draw a lot of my MD experience. I guess what works, what doesn't, and what I would like to see, and I do it. So
yeah. Lunch is a weird topic, right? Like people either like, oh yeah, I want a match lunch, but I don't want any match lunch. I want the right match lunch, or I don't want to eat it all. But I'm gonna bitch the fact that either I paid for it and I don't get it, or I have to pay for it and I want it. You know, it's like you can never make everybody happy.
Yep, we just included in the thing, like we included it, and we do what we can to cut costs. Like I've got some family that's in professional food service, so we're able to get really good prices on our raw supplies. Mm-hmm. And my dad loves to cook, and he's a grill master, so we get that, and then just shop at Costco, and then just share the wealth, spread it around.
Yeah. That's true. Just don't sell eggs because you'll need to do 50 cents upcharge per egg.
Right.
Or just get somebody to start raising chickens on the range, man. Take care of the bug problem. Just have free roaming chickens.
I expect Bullets and Band-Aids to sponsor the match with his free range eggs.
Yeah, exactly.
He brought some of his eggs with the Nationals in 23, and oh man, they were so good.
Yeah, chickens should start laying eggs soon. I mean, that's the shitty part about living up here in the cold. Without the sun, the chickens don't want to lay the eggs. So, yep. My sister, she raises chickens, and I'm like, got any eggs yet? She's like, no. I'm like, damn it, I don't want to spend $5 a box per eggs. Shit, I went to one grocery store and they were $10 a piece. I was like, what the hell? These aren't even like the organic, like super fancy eggs. These are just like regular eggs.
Right? Bird flu business.
Yeah. But yeah, so then the cool thing is 6 days ago, this picture was posted. So you've got like your payouts. So you got Carry Optics, Limited Optics Production, PCC, and Open all have payouts. I'm surprised you have enough production people to actually warrant a payout.
Yeah, it's kind of surprising. I think we've got 9 total, maybe, but then however many. I don't have the numbers off the top of my head, but yeah, there's a decent little production segment there. So,
Is PCC normally like a big thing up in Minnesota?
Not really. It's never been terribly a big part of it. The matches, no.
Yeah, I'm surprised, but no. You can if you win first PCC, you're gonna have to beat Josh Freilich probably if he showed up. I didn't look and see if he was registered yet.
I imagine he'll make it if he's not busy. He's and I'm curious. I see like Max Leograndis. He came out last year and dominated LO and took home some money, but this year he's registered. I think he's as open right now, but I know the PCC World Shoot isn't too long after the match, so I got to wonder if he's just sandbagging or what he's doing. Try to get more people in PCC and then switch back.
Yeah, get some money in there, right? No, it's cool.
That'd be a cool opportunity for a lot of people. Like if Max is shooting PCC, go shoot against the guy who's likely to win the world shoot in a month.
Yeah, I'll be surprised. I'll see how well he does. I'm kind of interested to see how Kyle does against him. The guy who won the rifle world shoot. So,
I know Kyle. He's a machine. I'd be curious to see.
Yeah, I think he was getting his legs underneath him at PCC Nationals. So we'll see how he's used to how that works out for the world shoot here in May coming up.
Yeah,
but no, you got good cash payouts. Now, is this where most of the money that you generate from like match fees and stuff, is that mostly kind of where you get your cash payouts are from?
Yeah, it's all exclusively from match fees. So what we do with our match fee, I believe, is $135 this year. So since we're an independent club, we've got to pay a range use fee. Some clubs are like that, some aren't. Not a huge deal, but because we take the whole action base for whatever 4 days. Then we take $40 from every paid competitor goes to the division purse that they register in, and that's how we figure it. And then the winner of that division will get 40% of the total purse. Second place gets 40% of what remains, and so on down the line. And we cut it off. I don't know if we had a firm decision yet, but at $50 or $100 or something.
That makes sense. That's cool. Now with the rest of the proceeds you make off the match after you pay for your targets and probably staff stuff and your consumables, are you using it back into more props then?
Yeah, that's all we do. I mean, nobody gets paid from our club. We're a non-profit social club, so all the money goes right back into buying more cool stuff.
Yeah. Are you gonna use that? Are you gonna go get out and buy more supplies then? Or are you gonna actually buy a prefabbed anything?
It's hard to say. It's we had a pretty decent year last year, and I would certainly like to upgrade to real legit stuff like Targets USA. Their poppers and stuff are just phenomenal. It's just not in our budget yet. But when we're able to, I think our plan might be to get more Targets USA poppers and props like that, and then donate the homemade ones that work great that I do, but donate those to newer clubs in the area and around to use. We did that with some of our older props already the last 2 years. As I've been building new stuff, we donate the old design stuff to some clubs that just don't have as many props, and it's cool to be able to help out also.
Right. And all that is
steel targets are very expensive, so that's what the biggest driving force was to me making them. It'd be the difference between getting 4 poppers or getting 10 poppers.
Yeah, and you're mechanically inclined, so you're not afraid to get your hands dirty. But yeah, it saves you a lot of money to build it yourself. I mean, one thing we've talked about the last couple times is being picky about wood and buying the right wood and not buying target sticks. Because if anyone's known, I'm actually working on building up a club myself. I've talked about it, but everyone's like, well, why don't we just buy 2x2s? I'm like, do you know what the cost of a 2x2 is? Do you really know? Or do you know what the cost of a 2x4 is and a table saw?
Yep. Yeah, that was a huge thing, because when I became president of the club I'm at, it was peak lumber price madness in COVID. So 2x4s were $8 when I came into it, and a 2x2 was even crazy comparatively. So that's where it initially stemmed from. And even then, with the prices more normalized, it's still 50% cheaper to do it the way I've been doing it. And it's no brainer. I enjoy doing this stuff. I mean, if I was pressed for time, yeah, we could buy 2x2s and buy target sticks, but we get better quality and they're cheaper, and I enjoy doing it. So it works out on all fronts.
Right. And it's definitely something that doesn't necessarily, you don't have to be like, oh, I got to go rip 75 boards today. It's, whatever you have, maybe 5 or 10, and then you're just ripping what you need to rip.
Yeah, and I do it all over the winter. I've learned that. I mean, I live in the frozen tundra. It gets pretty cold where you are, but there's 5 months out of the year where we don't do a lot outside up here unless you're dressed for it and you're ice fishing or snowmobiling or something. But so I tend to stack all that work up, and I'll do a whole bunch over the winter. I think I've got 400 target sticks in the garage that I ripped up in the last month, and those are ready to go. And a bunch of wall parts. I'll build a handful more walls, and then have some spare parts for repairing walls, and I'll build my poppers and all the other stuff in the winter here, so I don't have to do it in the summer, and we can just shoot while we can use the nice weather.
Yeah, exactly. Now, when you use target sticks, I'm assuming you're only cutting 5-footers, right?
Yeah, there's no real need. So what I do is I'll buy a 10-foot 2x4. This is where it comes in to be picky. Try to get one with either no knots or very small ones. The 10-foot 2x4s tend to be nicer quality, because when they go up in length, they have to be nicer to stay straight and even be sold at hardware stores. But I buy a 10-footer, I'll cut it in half, so I have 2 5-foot pieces. That's ideal height I've found for target sticks. You don't really need them much longer. and then I rip a 2x4 into 4 target sticks. You just go a little over 3/4 of an inch, and it winds up perfect with the only waste being sawdust from the saw curves.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. And you and I have talked about it. Like another match director that I help run his monthly match. That's how he does it. I've never had to build a wall, but their walls are set up is they use 2x4s when they that's what they started with. They didn't have fanciness and that's what they had because the weird thing about the ground there is, it's super hard. So they wanted for a while they were never staking down their walls because the walls were so heavy because they were just made out of straight up 2x4s. But yeah, he does the same thing for the sticks, right? So it's a little cost and love, but you're not wasting any wood for a stick. Because I had my one guy who's helping me start the matchup where I'm starting it. Like, well, why don't we just buy target stick like furring strips? I'm like, but then because we can't have anything hit the range floor at this range, so it's like okay, everything's on a 5-foot stick because with a 5-foot stick you can pretty much put it in the middle of the bay and still be pretty fine. I mean,
yeah, and we've done it. If you need to offset the target 6 inches past the top of the sticks, it's not hard. It's not gonna. The target will be more than strong enough to do that. Every now and then we'll have a weird array where you got 6 inches of target above the stick, but it's never been an issue.
Right. Well, and then you're not, and he was like, well, why don't we just buy the furring strips I'm like, no, then we're going to have a 5-foot section and a 3-foot section. You're never going to use a 3-foot section.
3-foot sections. Basically nothing.
Have a bonfire and then you're just burning money.
Yep. It's like $1 worth of wood just wasted.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and there's a lot of clubs out there probably, or people starting clubs that, they're wanting USPSA to build them a manual of how to start a club. The best thing I found is talk to other match directors and actually sit down and talk about it, right? Like how do you build your walls? How do you build your target stands, right? And that's the way to do it. People actually know what they're doing.
A lot of the stuff I've designed and built was just by figuring out a way to do it. Because there's extremely limited resources unless you can reach out and find match directors. Sometimes it's like maybe you don't have a club close and you don't really have great contact info for somebody around you, But that's one thing we want to do as part of the classifier committee is get a standardized wall design and a standardized port for use in classifiers because there is so much variability out there.
Mm-hmm.
But so that's something we're hoping to do as part of that in the future also. But
yeah, that would make sense, right? Like you look at some of these classifiers and the popper doesn't look right? Like the diagram shows it as like a mini, right? But it's really a large size popper or vice versa. It's just like sometimes it says mini, sometimes it doesn't. But it's like I think it was like what 2206, like the blues. I don't know if it's the blues don't care. You got the 3 IPSC targets, one's a partial, and you got the popper in the back.
That one's Crossroad Blues or Blue? Yeah, that's Blues don't care. Yep.
Yeah, I think Crossroad Blues is the mini field course on road.
Yep, 2207.
Both good stages. I mean, although people will say that the 2206 is already shot out, but I like it. It's fun. I've shot it a couple times. But yeah, so and then there's the diagrams. There's always the diagrams could use updating, but I agree. The standardized wall, standardized ports are very helpful. And then you're not screwing the short people or the super short people or the Nils Jonasons, right? Who are super tall, and you're making them squat more than the short person who's like, yeah, this is perfect height for me.
Yeah, that's my port wall that I've designed and I built for my club is a full height port from top of the wall to bottom of the wall. And the only thing I change is how wide I make it. Then at least it's equitable to everybody, tall and short.
Yep, and that's how we do. That's how I plan on doing it for these walls. Because we used to have at one of the clubs I was helping at for a while, where they would have, here's your port. It's like 18 by 18 inches, and it's like, people don't like these. So we went to the vertical ports, and I think they work pretty well.
Yeah, they definitely are more equitable. I've got a couple walls with weird ports in them for very specific situations. Like I made one wall that has like a 8 by 10 port in the right bottom corner of the wall. Oh man, that one's a fun one to break out and piss people off with.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of those every now and again. The ones I don't get are the ones that are like the diagonal port, They kind of go up or down, like from depending on which side you're looking at it.
Yep.
I'm just like, why? Like, that's just weird. Like, why would you want to do all those extra cuts? Like, I'm looking at it like
I got one exactly like that. Yeah. And I was actually applauded by short people and tall people because you can like pick your own port. Hey, I'll use this low side or I'll use the tall side.
Mm-hmm. That is nice, I would say. But yeah, there definitely would be like, that's an interesting looking port, that's for sure. Thank you for checking out another episode of Manny Talks Shooting. I greatly appreciate it. And if you could do me a favor, please go patronize our partners when you are available. We have always, as the title sponsor, D2 Custom Guns. We've got Outdoor Dynamics, Make Stuff Better, 2 Alpha Apparel, Range Panda, Laugh and Load, Hunter's HD Gold, and Southern Bobby Q. Now, thank you. Let's get on with this episode. Yeah, so as you mentioned, you're making your own poppers. Have you always, your day jobs, you're super mechanically inclined at your day job. Were you always a welder, or is this something you learned out of necessity?
I've kind of done it for a long time, as long as I've been fixing cars. Like, I guess I'm the most mechanically inclined because I'm an actual mechanic.
Right.
By definition. But I don't do much welding at work, but I've had jobs previously where we did a lot of welding. Like, I worked at a landscape company as just a mechanic there, so you fix anything and everything you could envision with that. And I've always enjoyed it, even from like the first couple classes in high school when we got to learn about welding. It's really cool. It's like 3D printing but with metal. It's a blast.
Right. Yeah, the first 3D pens, 3D printer pens were welders.
Yep. And the beauty of metal is you can put more on, and if it's bad, you can cut it off and put more on. It's a lot more forgiving than wood.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, you can put more material back, but yeah, would you like? Well, yeah, you'll get a new piece. But yeah, so you're making your own popper bases now. Are all your poppers just for rearward falling, or have you decided to make a mechanism to make some of them forward falling?
Currently, they're all rear falling, so that's not been much of a thing. Just the design, it's an economical design. I found you can get the plain popper plate from shootsteel.com. It's local to here in Minnesota, so I can just go pick it up, save on shipping 400 pounds of steel,
Mm-hmm.
And then it's just a simple rearward falling and a special thing I actually designed that I use. Where you have your like up and down adjustment, for calibration. I take and I mount a magnet on that, and I've got a flat piece of steel where the popper bolts to. That the magnet gives you just a slight bit of resistance to falling over, so it prevents almost all the issues we run into with wind blowing poppers over. You can set them a little lighter, and the bullet impact is enough to easily overcome the magnetic hold of these magnets. So
yeah, I think
it's kind of one nifty little feature I've had.
You got to make the bobbing popper, man. Got to make the bobbing popper.
The bobbing popper. It's on my list.
Did you remember that target from Area 5?
Oh, yeah, that was awesome.
The year before was like a 40-yard bobbing popper that ate everybody's lunch.
Oh, I mean, I heard about the year before I went. That was what I was wondering if it was going to be like when I got there. But
yeah, it definitely. I like the magnet idea, especially because you can set them a little bit lighter, and then you just let them fall. And the magnet is nice.
Bit of, stick that the magnet gives, a little bit of hold. You can have it set pretty light, but the wind won't blow it over as easily because you've got that active retention effectively.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's above nice, that's for sure.
The key to all this fun stuff is McMaster Car. You can find any sort of hardware. You just get bored, and I browse on that website, and it's amazing.
I don't know. Like, McMaster Car, I do not like how the website functions. I'm much more a Granger person, but you can definitely find what you need at McMaster Car more often than not than Granger. I just don't. I'm not that smart. My maintenance guy hasn't explained it how to use McMaster Car very well.
That's funny.
Yeah. Lord have, it's when you're trying to find a specific part or a specific SKU and you're just like, why am I not being able to find this? But hey, you figure it out eventually. The TISM eventually subsides, and then you're like, oh, there, we have it now. Easy peasy.
Yep, right in front of your face.
Yeah. Yeah, and as I think we talked a little bit, when you got to the club, was MAPS a thing before you got there, or did you start that?
Was it like an existing club, you said?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's actually one of the oldest clubs in the state of Minnesota. It's been around since 1985.
Okay, so what's your USPSA section number then?
MN03.
Oh yeah, you do have an old club then.
Yeah, so that's kind of cool. Kind of some history. I've had some shooters come out wearing MAPS of shirts from like the 1990s. I'm like, oh man, that's awesome.
Yeah, I don't. Go ahead.
The club itself has moved around. It's been to a lot of different ranges in the state. It's been like a kind of a redheaded stepchild. And when I first started like helping at all, they were at kind of a really fuddy range, not too far from where I'm at now. But I was at one of the matches, and I'd come early and help set up and help tear down because I knew the guys that were running it, and they came and yelled at us one day because we were shooting into side berms. I'm like, that's what they're here for, and they've never said anything. So that's when the guys got sick of it and picked up and moved from that range to Forest Lake. And now there's technically 2 USPSA clubs at Forest Lake, which makes for interesting things, but it works fantastic. And Forest Lake is just a phenomenal range to be at. And then about a year at Forest Lake, and the guy who was the president was like, okay, I've done enough. I think it's your turn, Tim. And I was kind of worried, but I took it over, and it's been awesome.
Yeah, I can imagine that. Yeah, and that's a little intimidating, for sure, to be like, oh, now it's your baby, you get to deal with it.
It's a lot of responsibility. Yeah, it was a big learning curve, and one of the beginning issues was like anytime I'd run a match, I would just absolutely bomb trying to shoot the match.
Mm-hmm.
As a big one was to learn how to separate the two, because you want the match to do good, but you also want to shoot good. So now on like the second full year, because I think I've been president for like 2.5 years, something like that. I don't really remember, honestly, but it all blurs together. Thousands of stages later.
Right now, do you feel that?
Really, what's that?
Now, do you feel that your match performance isn't taking a hit now, being the match director?
Yeah, I've gotten much better at it and able to separate. We've got a really good group of shooters too that come out. We've got a lot of people that are stepping up and helping. That's been another big effort of mine, is to delegate more, to get more people involved. A lot of people want to help and they just don't know how to. So you just kind of say, hey, will you help with this part? We help with that. And been getting a lot of people involved and trying to just build up the local shooting scene as a whole. And it's been really rewarding.
Mm-hmm. I can imagine that, being able to build up the clubs, build up your club, build up the people and teach them, so that someday, if you ever decide, well, I'm done, someone else can have it. You mentioned that there's 2 USPSA clubs running out of Forest Lake. What's the other one?
Forest Lake Practical Shooters.
Okay.
I'm not sure what their number is, but maybe it's MN06. I don't remember. But that one's been going for a while too.
Yeah. Now, do you go shoot their matches as well?
For last year they didn't do any real USPSA matches because Area 3 protest action.
Right.
And they a couple years back they do weeknight matches was primarily all they do. And when I worked a shift when I could get to those, I'd shoot those a lot. And then the guy that was running those had to step back for family stuff, and nobody really picked it up. So it's kind of been off and on. But like last year, one of my good buddies, Kevin Hartman, he was the section coordinator for a while too in Minnesota, but he was running like PCSL, pistol, and 2-gun. And then he's going to also run a USPSA match and then some PCSL stuff. I think they do Mondays, every other Monday or something like that. But I usually can't make anything during the week because of my work shift. But
yeah, I can imagine that. But that's cool. At least, Kevin Hartman's getting out and still shooting and taking care of things and shooting a match. It's kind of interesting, the clubs that are actually able to do the weekday matches, right? Yeah, we get away with that in the winter, but definitely not in the summertime about shooting an indoor match at night, on the evenings. We're not that cool. But
I've thought about doing a Friday evening match, but I'm like, I can't commit to that much on top of the weekend matches, so I'm sticking with my monthly matches and just making them big. I mean, usually during the peak of summer, we're probably running 7 stage matches. So,
do you guys shoot Saturday or Sunday?
Saturdays traditionally.
And do you set up the morning of?
I set up almost exclusively on Fridays because I have Fridays off of work. So I get a solid group of guys, 5, 6 guys usually, and they're able to come out and help, and we get almost everything done on the Fridays, which is great. I've got another thing I've done as club pres and stuff is developed a really good system to get stages set up quickly and efficiently, and like I developed a shopping list. Quick made a list of all the props, and then I look at my stage design, I fill out the list, we pile all that stuff on a trailer, go down, dump it out, set it approximately where it needs to go, and then do another stage. And then when we have more help, whoever designed the stage, which is me, maybe 75% of the time, I just have the diagram and I tell people, okay, hold that there, and somebody will come by and nail it, just piece by piece. As long you only need one person with the vision and one person directing traffic. You know, if you get too many people that are trying to help but don't necessarily know what to do, it just slows it down. So if you have one person and everybody else just does what they say, and it goes phenomenal. We've set up 7 stages in 3.5 hours before.
Damn, yeah. That's knowing your crew and knowing your efficiency, right?
Yep, and that's like everything I try to do with this club is like I've got a pretty decent budget to do stuff with. We make pretty decent money, and there's nothing else to do with it but try to improve things. So we've bought hammer drills. We came by another trailer for free, so I bought steel and made that into a whole stage prop moving trailer, and just anything I can do to increase efficiency and make things work better during the match, before the match, I will. It's like I recently bought paster guns for all the squads. I'm slowly stocking up, so now I think I have enough for my 2-gun matches, a white and a brown paster gun for every squad.
Oh, there you go. That. Yeah, especially when you can get them for $55 on Amazon.
It's awesome.
I've sent that link to so many people. They're like, "Why does the price keep changing? Just pay attention. Just buy it when it's low."
Yeah, I got a reminder set up. Whenever it dips below a certain amount, it'll email me.
There you go. Yeah, I don't understand why it fluctuates like that, but I mean, I don't know. It's the same paster gun that Ben Steger's selling, or Shooter's Connection, or Double Alpha. So it's like, just buy it.
Yeah, they've worked great. I've had no problems with them, and they're the legit Tawa ones. And I don't know, just China doing weird stuff.
Yeah. No, but
maybe they're counterfeit. That's why. Who knows?
Yeah. Hey, they work well. I was thinking I need to get another one as like a backup one, so I can have one for matches and then one for like training. Guess I'd be like, this one's in my shooting bag for like my setup by myself shooting bag, so then I don't have to worry about making sure I'm using my match paster gun. Yeah, a match paster gun and a backup paster gun.
Right, I've got all the club stuff at my house, so if I'm going to the range and I don't remember where I put mine, it's like just grab one of the 10 different paster guns. It's like,
Yeah. Yeah. Speaking of that, like, obviously you probably during the winter season you probably keep all the pasters at your house, just because you don't want them to get all ruined, right?
Yeah, we try to keep anything like that, like paint and stuff like that, at my place. And pretty much the mostly sole arbiter of all things MAPSA.
Yeah. Yeah. So
I've got a couple of my other good guys, like Ryan Carlson. He's the vice president technically. He's been doing a lot of the sponsorship coordination for the majors we're hosting, and then he's the one that sits down and figures out the cash payouts, and he's done a lot of the graphic design too. He designed the big checks for Northwoods last year and made those, and awesome group. So
yeah, that is pretty awesome when you're able to have you've got your crew and you're able to delegate and separate. It's pretty freaking nice right there.
I've got Ben Eggleston. I brought him on as the chief technology officer.
There you go.
When I told him that, he's like, what's that job? What does that do? I'm like, you just do the graphic design stuff for me. Like, I'm like, oh hey, can you make me, like, obviously I'm a boomer when it comes to computers, so he designed me my stage building checklist, my prop list, and he dumps it in the folder for us, and like I just try to get stuff to him with a little bit of extra time so he can knock that out. And he does really nice design work. Like he did the matchbook for us last year for Northwoods, and it was super nice. Hot links in it all over for directions and stuff, and just phenomenal. So he's a nice addition to have.
You should make him your stats guy and make him do all the tablets and stuff.
I've actually got Marcel coming out for stats for Northwoods this year.
Well, there you go. What about a local match?
Yeah.
Do you end up doing that?
Yeah, it's not hard. I've got everything down so easily, and we've got Wi-Fi on the range too, so it's quick. As soon as we're done with the match, people are tearing down. I go around in the truck and grab the tablets. They all go put them right back in their little squad boxes and upload them, and I've got scores up 10 minutes after we're done shooting.
Yeah. Speaking of squad boxes, what do you guys use for squad boxes?
I've got these plastic ammo cans from Harbor Freight.
Like
a 1-inch hole through each side, and got a piece of PVC and some trailer lynch pins and then I cut little plastic dividers to put between the rolls of pasters, and I put like 2 tan, 1 white, 1 black, and then usually you only have to refill the tan ones. The white and black seem to last the whole match, or whole year almost.
Yeah, you're gonna have to send me a picture of that.
In there too, but
you have to send me a picture of that because that actually sounds. Because these are those black ones that have like the little tray inside with the clip. Okay.
Yeah. It's great because it'll keep them dry too, and it serves as another trash can. If people can't find a trash can, they can just stuff the paster tails in there. I try to get in the habit of refilling them the day I get home from the match, because otherwise it sucks, and I'm doing it at 9:30 p.m. the night before the match. But tip the whole thing upside down and dump all the tails out into the garbage and make sure the rolls are full enough, and get a paster gun in there and the correct timer in there.
Yeah, that's the one thing I dislike about, non-paster guns is the fact that you have all these tails or like there'll be a whole piece of paper with like 2 pasters left on it, and you're just like, and they're not connected. It's like, really? Just throw it away.
Yeah, for the price of pasters, I just toss them. Like, I'm not going to fight with tails.
Yeah, well, and this is where I'm most like, this is why every squad needs 2 paster guns. You just pull out the paster guns, and I'm at the point, I'm like, yeah, most clubs can't do this. I mean, this is why I have we all have our own stacks of pasters at home. Just like, I will be like, oh, you're going to use your own paster gun at my matches? Well, here's a roll. Here you go. I can use it. I don't care. If you need a roll, let me know. I'd rather use your paster gun.
Yeah, I've really been using the double alpha pasters, and if you pay attention, you get a President's Day sale or a 4th of July sale. And I think the last time around, I ordered like 200,000 pasters.
There you go.
And yeah, I just got a giant box full, and that's one of the least expensive things of running matches. So
yeah, it's the one thing you got to let people know. It's like, we have consumables, we have to buy them. We can't run without pasters. Or I don't understand like the clubs out west that are using tape. Like, who wants to rip tape and then have like tape residue all over your pants?
Like, I see that a lot, and it's tough. Like the USPSA or shooting clubs that are attached to the range, like run by the range technically. Mm-hmm. So they've got like a whole nother level of bureaucracy to go through, which would be tough. Like, I've had people ask me like, oh, why don't you just fold like MAPSA into Forest Lake and run those ones? I'm like, because then I'd have to answer to somebody else. Mm-hmm. I like being the guy who's like, hey, I want to buy a cordless spray gun so we can paint barrels easier. Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Usually if it's over a couple $100 or approaching like $200, I ask to the rest of my MAPSA guys, which is all 2 of them. But yeah, anything within reason, like it's the money's used for nothing else other than improving the club. So
yeah, the place where I'm going to be running matches at, I have to answer. Well, I'm the guy, but I also have to deal with the oversight somewhat of like the board. But they also understand you have consumables. Just buy the consumables, we'll reimburse you. Okay, cool. Right? So that's the nice thing. And the cool thing is, it's like, I don't even have to make the payment to USPSA. The other guy the treasurer will. I'm like, sweet. I don't have to worry about
it at least.
They will be. I mean, which isn't terrible. Like, you tell them 30 days, but if you send them a text reminder, hey, scores are posted, please go pay that,
Yeah, I mean, I do that stuff as soon as I get home from the match. Like people like that because they shoot a good classifier. They want those scores. Like that's me bringing my shooter's mindset. I remember going to matches and I'm like, "Where's this classifier?" They don't submit it and pay it for 2 weeks. It's like, come on, guys.
The one place I was helping indoor, the one match I was helping indoor, they posted the match to practice score, but they had forgotten to pay USPSA. Like they forgot to upload it to USPSA, and it's like, I'm not the guy who does anything with their money or their practice score. Don't blame me.
Mm-hmm.
And then, excuse me. And then it literally happened at the next match. Like, did you upload them? So then they uploaded 2 months worth of classifiers like in one night. I'm like, oh, there you go. I guess that's not the end of the world. You didn't break the affiliation bits, but you did piss off a bunch of shooters. They kept bothering me about it. But yeah. So yeah. Yeah, unfortunately, I'm not fancy. I can't make metal stands yet. So for the first year or two, I'm going to use my 2x4 stands.
Yeah, I mean that's what we did. That's what we had when I got started. We had a bunch of 2x4 stands, so I made some more of those, and then I started looking around. And for last year, I did a lot of this metal stuff, but I borrowed my buddy's welder, and I was like, it's really nice having a welder around. So I went and bought a welder, and the club buys the welding wire and the gas for the thing, since I'm using it to make the club stuff. Pretty simple. I don't mind that trade.
Yeah. Did you have to get did you get like a 110 welder then?
Oh no, I got a 220. It's the only way to go. All the power.
Now, was that already wired into your house, or did you have to have an electrician come out?
I am the electrician, Manny. I do everything.
You fix cars, you weld, you cut things.
I'm a plumber. I'm an electrician. I'm a sheetrocker, painter. I've done a couple roofs. I built our deck. Yeah, I do everything.
There you go. At least you're handy enough to actually do that.
Yeah, it's been a process. I remember when I bought my first house, it was a lot of learning, but yeah, my dad's a union electrician, and
that helps.
Grew up on a farm, so learned how to fix stuff that needs to be fixing. And my stepdad's a diesel mechanic, but he built houses for 10 years as a carpenter. And yeah, there's a lot of can-do spirit, and with the amount of knowledge that's available on the internet nowadays, it's not hard to do stuff. You just have to be brave and do it.
Yeah, that's for sure. The only problem I was thinking about when I bought this house, I was thinking about being able to put 220 out in the garage. The only problem is how to get the wire back out there. There's already a conduit going from my house. My garage is detached, so I have a conduit running underneath. I'm just like, yeah, that's a little more effort than I'm willing to put in. So I'm like,
How far away is that garage from the house?
15 feet, 20 feet.
It's a little more expensive, but you can get a 220 extension cord.
Yeah, that wouldn't be a bad idea.
A lot cheaper than trying to run it through conduit and underground and all that. So
yeah, you might not be wrong.
I was lucky when I bought my current house. The basement was unfinished for the most part, so I ran a giant service right out to it's an attached garage, but I went from the main panel out to the garage and put a sub panel so I can put in anything I ever need to out there, and just had to go pick up a 220 outlet and 3 feet of wire and wire it in right to the sub panel out there. But I also have a 220 extension cord, so I can use the welder anywhere in the garage.
Yeah, that does make it handy right there, right? Yeah, but there's so many ways of doing building your props and whatnot, and there's cool. I was googling. Oh no, I was googling, but then I got stuck on Reddit. Reddit is like the cesspool of the internet, but it's very helpful for information. But you see all these people with different types of walls and whatnot. I literally saw there was an old video of Max Agrandis. So I have to go find it and look it up again. They literally had the walls were one dimension, but the posts were hall trees essentially, like a weird maybe a 2x2 or maybe a 4x4 post with a triangular base, but then it had little octopus looking hooks on them. They were just holding the walls up. They were that's how they connected the walls to the posts essentially. And I'm
got a local club here that does something similar. They use 2x2s with 4 like 2 or 4 hooks at the top, and then the wall they use like house sheathing that's cut in 8-foot lengths, and they hook one end at the top and unroll it and like Velcro it. Makes for very portable, easy to store stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, there's thousands of designs if you really dig into it.
Yeah, you were telling me about at maps that you used to have like what did you call them? Like
I called them roll-up walls.
yeah.
They're like fabric snow fencing, kind of weird stuff. But it was like 15 or 20-foot lengths of the stuff. It's 4 foot, but then they just staple a stick on each end, and you'd roll or unroll it for the length you needed. But it would always sag in the middle and blow 3 feet one way in the wind, and less than ideal.
Yeah. Yeah. And then there's a couple clubs around here. No, there's one club around here that uses PVC fault lines. Have you seen that before?
I've seen like PVC fault line, PVC walls. I mean, it's relatively cheap and easy to assemble. It gets the job done. Doesn't take bullet impacts well, though.
No, not at all. Well, my biggest problem with the PVC fault line was because it would be staked at each end. And then, but if you hit it hard enough in the middle, you could bow it out an extra foot and be like, I'm still in the shooting area.
Right.
This is also that grinds my gears when I see the people down south using like the big old
the big rope.
Yeah, like the big rope on the hose reel kind of thing.
Yeah,
you know?
I saw that.
I was just like, what? It works.
I mean, you think level 1 type stuff. I'm like, hey, I'm glad they're out doing matches and helping people be able to shoot.
Yeah.
I think there needs to be tighter standards for level 2s or bigger matches, since I guess I'm not running a level 2 this year. But
yeah, you never know. You could be doing a level 2 in 2026. You never know. I don't know. I kind of agree to the thing of like Todd Weitzel, Todd Wotzel and Weitzel or Wotzel?
I think it's Weitzel.
Okay. Todd and Michelle, right? The Cornhusker Steel Challenge match is always a level 1. It makes no sense to be a level 2. So I mean, at some point, right? If the shooters see the return on investment for the cost of a level 1, right? Especially level 1 like the Northwood Showdown, that's a justifiable cost, right? It's not like you're giving it's not like you're charging $200 for 8 stages of poop, right? You're going to a high quality event that gets the return, right? They see the value. The shooter sees the value for the cost, right? And that's what's good, right? I don't necessarily think you need to put levels on everything all the time, even though we want to. Feels like there's more prestige to the match if there is, but
yeah, like the current restrictions on like what makes a level 2 are pretty asinine in my opinion. Like I don't think somebody's able to look at the stage diagram we send in and have any effect on what's going to be on the ground.
Yeah. Well, as we all know, the range master's job is it legal? Is it safe? Yep. Are those 2 criteria met? Yep. All right, put it on the ground. And then they got to enforce the rules. But I agree. I agree that you could run a level 1 match that could be just as good as nationals, but the only thing difference is that the false title we give it, right? Or the false level designation that we give it, right?
Yeah, like I had a number of people even after Northwoods last year, like, wow, this is the best match I've ever shot. Like the stage quality, the way we construct them and proof them, and just a lot of the things we do. It's like that's exactly all I'm trying to do. Like, yeah, we might not have a lot of the amenities like some other big matches, but I'm a shooter that's running matches for shooters. That's what it comes down to. I want to put the best quality stages I can on the ground, and that's my goal every time. And that's the overriding goal. That's what's most important to me.
Right now, how many porta potties do you have on the range at Forest Lake?
I made sure, and we got a couple extra ones because normally I think we have 3 or 4 on the range because we have 10 bays, and they get used by various like law enforcement training and other matches. But I made sure to get a couple extra. I don't remember how many, but it was like 3 extra.
Will there be a sticker dispenser in each porta potty?
Maybe I should put up some of my stickers for multi-gun too.
So here's what you do: is you find a way to attach a David. Get David to make a 3D printed sticker dispenser so people can, and you put them on a roll. So then they pull out like toilet paper.
So here's my other idea. I don't know if I've ever told you this one. I'm gonna make Tanfo Timmy logo printed toilet paper
Oh, there you go.
and just stock the porta shitters with that. Because I mean, are you really gonna complain if somebody puts extra TP in the shitter? No.
Right? And then you can get some stickers and put them on hand sanitizer bottles.
Yeah.
You know, Tanfo Timmy sponsors the toilets. That was the best thing.
CO Nationals this year. Maybe I'll bring some toilet paper.
Well, like that was a cool thing. Like Bill Duda sponsored like the shitters at like IDPA Worlds or Nationals or something, and he put the little meme signs inside of it, and I was like, that's fucking genius. No one wants to sponsor the shitters,
right?
But
That's a real expense to matches, man.
Yeah, that reminds me. I got to talk to our board about possibly either moving our porta shitter, or adding a porta shitter, because the range, like, there's one big main bay that people use on the range, right? So it's like, well, if you're adding people to use all of the bays on the range, you kind of just can't make everybody walk to the first bay that has the shitter, the only bay that has the shitters. It's like, yeah, we gotta move these.
That was a big one. I had a porta potty brought down and set by a congregation of bays, because from like the confluence of 3 bays for 3 stages, the nearest porta potty was like 120 yards. So it's like, that's way too far. We got to get at least one and put it there and all that.
Yeah, you got to. Now, I guess this is a good question. When you do your matches, do you do a traditional shooters meeting, or is it kind of like no shooters meeting?
We do. Like at least my regular monthly matches or regular matches, we do a quick shooters meeting just because we touch on some safety stuff for the range itself.
Mm-hmm.
Like your old 911 call scripts, the trauma kits that are on the bays. And then we've, like, especially starting last year, we've been getting a ton of new shooters. Like, a lot. And so I really try to give everybody a chance to ask questions if they need to, and go over just the basics in case there's people that haven't been there before, stuff like that. So we do a quick, like, 5-minute meeting, and then that's hand out squad boxes and disperse.
Mm-hmm.
Like in my last match, it was freezing, so we did the shooters meeting in the clubhouse, and I as the club, bought a bunch of chemical hand warmers, a pair for every shooter at the match, so I gave those out.
Yeah. Oh, the best thing I've found recently is, yes, they make the really big hand warmers, like this big, but I also bought like a muff, the big old thing that you can just clip around your waist. So I clipped it around over my gun belt. Like I went to go practice with a couple guys. So above my gun belt, I have my hand warmer thing, my hand warmer muff with my hand warmers in it. I'm like, yeah, this is fucking awesome. My hands aren't cold. Sucks to be you guys.
Just to keep the gun bagged with like 3 hand warmers in between stages, and just unbag at the line on your make ready, and rebag when you're done, and pull a nice 90-degree gun out of the bag. It's pretty sweet.
That is what I do, especially for those really cold mornings and like for a stage. Like I think I did this even in the middle of the year. It was like a cooler, maybe August or September start match. And I was like, well, fuck this. My gun's not going to be cold. Leave it in the car as late as I can, because I usually like to park right where I start for like my bay. So I would leave the gun in the bag, hand warmers in there, because that's the worst thing when you got a cheese grater grip like you and I do, and it being cold. It's just like, ugh, I don't want to have to absolutely bleed today, so yeah, you just leave it nice and toasty, grab it, you're like, oh, you're 3 shooters up, okay, I'll go grab my bag now. Run back to this. It worked, and that's important too. Now, for all of your bays, do you have is there safe tables on every bay, or is it you have to jump around?
Yeah, no, we have safe tables on every bay, yeah. And we usually have a picnic table on every bay, at least in the summer. Some of them are put away in the winter here so they can plow better, but yeah, we'll have safety table, garbage can on every bay, and do whatever we can to make it convenient for shooters.
Yeah, you got to make it convenient, especially if you don't want trash on the ground. If you don't have a trash can, it will go on the ground.
Yeah, and it's like perpetually windy here too, so no matter how hard they try, it always usually cruise around and picks them up off the berms that blew away and whatnot. Another project I dove into more via the range than the shooting club is I'm going to build sun shelters. Like big 12x12 steel tube structure with sheet metal on the roof to put on each bay, so we have some shade.
Yeah, the last we just hosted our Michigan section match from 24, But right before the match, we already had some shade and canopies. Well, not canopies, but I would say, lean-to shelters for shade. But then we've added carports. We found at Menards we could get carports cheap enough, especially when they're on rebate. They're like super cheap. We just installed carports on a couple of our bays, just so we had they were like 20 by 12 or something, so they were super nice. And then
Nice.
I think they ended up buying a little extra sheet metal on top, well, for the one side, so you can then leave the walls inside of it. Like the bays that didn't have like a lean-to for all the walls and stuff, you could leave them inside, like the structure, the carport. So then they were out of the weather too. But
Yeah, that's been a big one. We bought the MAPSA bought a 20 by 12 dome carport thing to cover our walls. When you got wooden walls, it really extends their life to keep them out of the elements.
Yep. Yeah, you don't want to have to leave those out in the rain, or you're going to be they get waterlogged, and you're going to replace them and then shoot them up. And yeah, if it's
their future investment is another Connex container for stuff, but those are expensive, so it's a year or so out yet.
Yeah. So if you put something in the Connex, I'm assuming nobody else on the range can get access to that, right?
Yep. Yeah. It's just the maps of people that have keys for that.
Yeah. Yeah, and that makes sense. You're protecting your stuff, like especially like activators. You don't want activators out so people can mess with them, and and then they're going to shoot the cable.
Sharing, for example, like if I don't have enough of one type of prop, I can use Forest Lake stuff and kind of share back and forth. Like since Forest Lake is running multi-gun nationals, but we'll use a ton of maps of stuff for that too, and it goes both ways. It's beneficial for everybody, but yeah. Otherwise, most of the Forest Lake props are out for regular member use, so I don't want my poppers getting shot with rifles accidentally, so I lock them up.
Yeah, I don't blame you on that one. I wouldn't want my poppers like that. Yeah. Well, Tim, we're kind of near the end of the time that I'm available tonight to keep going, but obviously, mention, pimp your stuff, pimp what you got to pimp, and all the good stuffs.
We got a couple of big matches. We're gonna do our Northwoods Showdown as usual. It's our annual thing now. It's only gonna get bigger and better.
Mm-hmm.
I think if the match fills this year, we'll give away almost $8,000 in cash. One of the only matches around with cash payouts come and it's not just like first place. I think in limited optics right now the payout goes down to like 5th or 6th place.
Mm-hmm.
There's a real opportunity to win some money. You'll get some bigger names drawn out from the money involved and come shoot against some of the best people in the country. We'll be running a Minnesota State PCSL 2-gun match in September. I think it's September. We've been trying to nail the date down for that, but we'll get that set up soon. We do like a point series match with a couple local clubs for 2-gun matches, and then we'll host the championship match. That'll be a big 7-stage 2-gun match. So it'll be a lot of fun, and then just do our monthly matches. But obviously, a lot of this is also sponsored by my sponsors like Brass Monkey Bullets and Vortex. Got a lot of sponsors, probably too many to list, but they
right.
all make fantastic stuff. You'll help me? You got a list pulled up?
No, that was the funny part. Is maybe I can pull up your story real quick because that was still from today.
Right.
I'm not a terrible person. Like I'm pretty fast on my thumbs. Well, luckily you're the last person I looked up. Oh, there it is. Yeah, who do we got? Because it wasn't a story. We got S3. We got Targets USA.
Awesome, man.
Yep. GX, FGS, Rune
Tactical Followers.
Patriot Defense.
Number 1 Tanfo place.
Unrivaled.
That's my rifle guys, man. If you're shooting 2-gun, you need an unrivaled break on your rifle. It's a recoil delete.
Yeah, and then you got Stonebridge, Vincent Stonebridge.
Yeah.
Yeah, we already said Vortex. We have Hunter's HD Gold.
Hunter's HD Gold. I gotta get a new set of rubies for the year. I love those. Make your red dots pop.
Yep, and then you got Nick Gross. He's on there still.
Oh yeah, he's B Team Engineering. I think he's gonna start doing a little more again. He's gonna get back into it. I think so.
Yeah, now that I think he can.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, now that his embargo essentially has been lifted, he's like, well, gotta go make some money now.
right? The trade tariff has ceased.
Yep, exactly. But yeah, man, Tim.
So
Go ahead.
a shout out, anybody who's running a match or honestly, I'm always on Instagram and more than happy to help people out. Like I tell a lot of people I got into shooting the hard way and just dove in and didn't have a lot of guidance and help, and I'm more than willing to help people with all the knowledge I've learned doing all the things I've done. So don't be afraid to shoot me a DM and I'll help you if possible with running matches or reloading or Tanfos or just about anything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so guys, hit up Tanfo Timmy. There's still slots left for the Northwood Showdown, so please get in the match if you can. There's cash payouts. The more people who sign up, the more money is given away. So go check them out. Go support the sponsors that Tim has. Go support the sponsors that the match has. FGS, Vortex, Brass Monkey Bullets. Of course,
MW Activewear. That's where I just got my jersey.
MW Activewear. Yep. JP. Go get yourself a JP trigger. Get a JP5 if you want. Try to be Josh Freilich. Be a lumberjack. The living lumberjack. Yeah. Go check all those cool things out. If you want to be better being a match director or start a club, hit up somebody who knows things like Tanfo Timmy or the local guys around. Find out what works, what might not. But something that works for us or him or you might not work for somebody else, but we all can learn something about that too. So,
absolutely.
Yep. Well, guys, as I say on every show, get out and do things. I'm going to see you on the next one.